Hello, welcome to this video presentation. So when a lot of people get in touch with us to register their business with the CAC, one of the most important questions, one of the recurring questions that come is, which should I choose between a business name and a limited liability company? What should inform my decision to choose a business name and a limited liability company? In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to decide which structure is best for your for-profit business. And here we're talking about businesses that are designed for profit, not probably NGOs, but here it is specifically for profit business. And today we are going to look at the difference between business name and limited liability company and how to decide which of these to choose. Hi, my name is Gabriel. Welcome to this video presentation. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like this video, and share it with people that you know who would like to watch this kind of content. I share a lot of business videos on business development, funding, how to get funding for your business, and generally business opportunities for entrepreneurs in Africa. So if you like to get content like this, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Right, so let's get into this immediately. So we're going to take this one after the other. So one of the things you need to consider when choosing when you're trying to choose a type of structure for your business is the type and nature of your business. Right, so deciding between a business name and a limited liability company depends on the business idea. Right, so some businesses like law firms can only be registered as a business name. So if it's a lawyer who is considering establishing a law firm, or an accountant who is trying to have an accounting firm, you can only register these as a business name. However, if your business is into fintech, and you can only also be registered as a limited liability company. So the type of business you are running determines a lot about which nature of business is suitable for you. So that's it about the type and nature of business. So for law firms, for businesses that are run by individuals, basically they are around professionals. Most of the time, professional businesses, you find out that they are restricted to running their business as a business name because the identity of the business is known by this individual. The business can be identified with this individual. But for businesses that are going to involve a lot of collaborations, a lot of other people are going to make input. Like for a fintech, you're going to need Google to create your app. You're going to need to get approval from CBN, and there are going to be input from financial money banks. What do you call them now? And deposit money banks, because you may need collaborations. So some of these things are not things that you will just do a business name for. So for a fintech, and most recently schools, CAC has just recently said that schools can no longer be registered as a business name because they are body corporate. So these natures of business fall into a limited liability company. So for a fintech, for instance, a travel agency, you can only register as a limited liability company. For a school that I just told you most recently, you can only register as a limited liability company. So that is it about that. So let's go to the next topic, venture capital. Now, what would you want to do with your business? How will you want to raise funding for your business? If you're bootstrapping your business, if you're funding your business by yourself, you may not need to bother much about registering a limited liability company or even the nature of business, the structure of business you should use. But if you intend to, in the future, secure funding from external sources, if you do intend to bring external people, investors, to put money into your business, then you have to register a limited liability company, because a business name cannot give equity What venture capitalists are looking for is equity in your business. Investors are interested in the equity in your business. With a limited liability company, you can offer some shares of your company which serves as equity. So it is the equity that they hold on to, so that they are able to exchange their money for a share of your company, which in this case is we consider as equity, right? So that is it. So if you're looking for external funding, and ordinarily if you're looking for external funding generally to run your business, you have to consider registering a limited liability company. Even though in Nigeria, whether it is whether it is debt funding or grants or equity funding, right? You are not supposed to access funding with a business name, because a business name is essentially the same as the owner of the business. But of course, there are some leniencies that are being shown. We see that some of the government loans that are issued and some of the grants that are available to Nigerians, do not restrict you whether you have a business name or a limited liability company. But when you're sourcing from outside of the country, from international funders, you may need to, if you intend to do that, you may have to consider registering a limited liability company, because it will be difficult for you to attract funding from international funders with a business name. So let's go to the next one, which is similar to what we have talked about in the past. So businesses hoping to secure external funding like grants, whether from government or private, private companies should be registering a limited liability company. Now, generally, and in most cases, grants are not given to individuals; they are given rather to companies. But rather to formal entities, reflecting the cost of which the grant is designed. So, you want to talk about grant here too. And when you talk about grants, you also know that NGOs are involved. Cooperative trustees can actually receive grants, but they may not receive loans because they are not a business running venture. There is no structure for them to pay back. But we're not talking about them here. We're just saying that to register, to really be able to access external funding, you want to consider registering a limited liability company. Now, in the case you are unable to repay your loans, you might be able to shell off some shares of your company to the person you have given the loan as equity, right? But if it's a business name, the tendency is that the person or the banks can take over all of your company because you're owing them, because you are the same person as your company. And beyond taking your company, they can go ahead and even take some of your personal properties because you are owing them. So this is some advantage or some of the things you might want to consider. I'm going to discuss this in detail when we talk about legal separation between a business and the owner. All right. So let's talk about solopreneur. If some individuals on their own would like to run things on their own, they don't like external instructions. They don't like people doing things for them. They don't like to be distracted. They just want to. They trust themselves so much. They know that they feel that they are the only ones who are capable of doing this business. So you can talk about traders who, everybody who comes into the business, they don't pay staff. They bring them in as what do you call them now? They bring them in as apprentices. So traders are a typical example of sole proprietorships. So people who run their business as their personal business, as their own venture, that this business name works best for them. Okay, so business name works best for you if you are a sole proprietor. So if you are running a one-man show or one-woman business, you simply want to structure things in order to get access to benefits like corporate account. You just need a structure around your business so that you can create a corporate account. Then business name is okay for you, right? Business name should be a norm for you to run that kind of business. If you opt for a company, you must comply with the mandatory requirements of minimum two shareholders, which is no longer the case now anyway. It used to be the case, but no longer the case now. For a limited liability company, you can actually register it alone. But basically, business name is suitable for you if you are a one-man business. Then we're going to look at sector regulations. Another thing you need to consider if you want to register a company is to look at what is obtainable in your industry, what is obtainable in your industry. Some sectors of the economy are highly regulated. Some sectors are highly regulated. They require you, for instance, travel agencies or people who are doing career services. Alright, so those are examples of highly regulated organizations. Two things you need to look out for is most of the regulated organizations want you to register as a limited liability company. For instance, there are exceptions. For instance, pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria is highly regulated, but then their regulations are now based on states, not a national regulation. For instance, in the pharmaceutical industry in Lagos, you cannot open a pharmacy unless it is registered as a limited liability company. That is the standard in Lagos State. In some other states, if you register as a business name, that is fine by them. And some other states, you cannot register as a limited liability company, you have to register as a business name. So you have to look at what regulations are applicable to your sector, to the sector you're running business in. And then also you need to, when it is a limited liability company, you want to consider the minimum share capital that you are required to start business with. For instance, if you're doing courier services outside of the country, the minimum share capital is 30 million naira. That's the minimum share capital. Doesn't mean you will pay 30 million naira to register it, but the minimum share capital for travel companies, for courier companies that are servicing international, that are doing international servicing, is 30 million. So these are the things you need to consider before you choose whether you're registering a business name or a limited liability company. So what's next? Separate legal entity. So I talked about this earlier, that in a limited liability company, there is what is called legal entity. There is what is called separation between the owner or owners of the business and the business itself. So according to the Corporate Affairs, not Corporate Affairs Commission, but Company and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, and of course the previous ones, they have identified a limited liability company as a separate legal entity. So if you register a limited liability company today, it will stand as an artificial individual. It is a neutral person, human being, not a human being living, but is a neutral person, a neutral individual, an artificial individual that can be sued and can sue. So it is separate from the business. So if you need to understand this when you're trying to register your business. You need to know that when you register this business today, it is no longer the same as you. All right, it enjoys separate entity. It enjoys its own legal separation from you. So with a business name, there is no separate legal entity. You and your business and your business partners are simply carrying on business in the name of the registered, in the name registered with the CAC. Sorry. Now what this means is that all risks and liabilities are borne personally by the business owners. But with limited liability company, like I explained earlier, whether it is private or public, because there are two types of limited liability company, you have private or public, there is separate legal entity. That is, the company itself is an artificial person that is distinct from the shareholders and directors of the company. Thus, all risks and liabilities are borne by the company, not personally by the owners or the shareholders. So if there's any risk involved in the business, it is borne by the business, not by the individuals. Right, I hope you've been getting value from this video. If that is the case, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know each time I post a new video, and like this video so that other people like you who enjoy videos like this will see it. Alright, so the next is contributions and stakes in business, and this is a very important consideration. Now, and if you have a partner in the business, if you have somebody who has or who is going to have a stake in the business you intend to register, or someone who already have a stake, could be your wife, your friend, but in this case we call them business partners, right? Now, it can influence your choice of nature of business, structure of business to use in your business registration. Now, if you choose a business name, yes, two of you can become co-proprietors in your business name, but there will be no document to determine or to dictate or to state the stakes of each contributions of each partner. So in that case, you would need what we call a deed of partnership, which is an external document that now helps you determine your grounds or stand on your business, right? What each partner will contribute or is contributing to the business, and what their stakes are, right? But if it is a limited liability company, there will be no need for an external document, because all your contributions and stakes will now be stated in and be determined by the number of shares you hold in the business. So in a limited liability company, shares of the company are distributed or allotted according to the contributions of each partner in the business. And of course, this is according to the partners. This is the instructions the partners will give to the agency or agent who is helping them with the incorporation process of their company. So that is how we determine what stakes that each of you have. So it's something that you need to consider. Do you want to have the business registered and then you have to draft a separate document to determine the stakes of each of you, or you want to have a registration that already has a public document, and this is a statement of shares, okay, of each person in the company, right? So I think that is it. So this is another consideration depending on what you want to do with your business. So business partnership is encouraged. Now, owning properties is another factor you need to consider. If there will be need for your business to own properties in the future, then you will have to register a limited liability company, because with a business name you cannot own a property. You cannot buy a property in the name of a business that is registered with CAC as a business name. Why? That is because the business is considered the same as the owner. So instead of there is no need for you to buy the property in the name of the owner. So instead of even while you're buying the property, legally the name will be your personal name will be written on the property, not the name of the business. But if you're a limited liability company and you want to acquire a property in the name of your company, that is very possible. The company can have the property because it is considered a neutral or artificial person, right? So it is allowed by law to own properties, and by implication, you cannot own any property with a business name. So I hope this is very clear. So you want to register a business today, you need to have these considerations attached, right? Now, formalities and costs. So these are also another consideration. I think one of the most important considerations for a lot of people, which is really not good, that is cost. But then aside cost, there's also formalities. Now, the formalities for registering a business name is simple. You need simple documentation. You just need a few information about the person, about the business, the location of the business, and then small signatures and passport, right? That's all you need to register a business name. But with a limited liability company, the documentation is complex. You have to fill a lot of forms. Even though now it's online, yet it requires a lot of form filling, provide a lot more detailed information like the number of shares that the company wants to have, how many shares each person should hold, what do you call it now, the persons which CAC recently introduced, persons with significant control in the business, and what they can do and cannot do in the company, right? So all these things are formalities, and aside that, you have to pay what do you call it now, tax, kind of stamp duty, sorry. You have to pay stamp duty with FIRS, and then before your company is completed. So these are all formalities that are not involved in. And then when it comes to cost, the cost for registering a business name is, because of the formalities involved, is less than that of a limited liability company, because you have to pay stamp duty in addition to the registration cost for your business. And because the process is also cumbersome, the lawyer or the agent who is helping you to do the registration will charge you more because he or she is doing more. There is also even documentation for the object of the company, for memorandum and article of association, for the constitution of the company, and all that. So all these things require a lot of work, so they will charge you far more. That is why you will see that, and the cost for registering a business name is significantly lower than that of a limited liability company. So this is also maybe another consideration. Right now, look at this very important consideration, which will probably nullify your considerations in the earlier part when we talk about the cost for registering a business. Now, recently in 2020, the financial bill grants tax exemptions, or what is called tax concessions, to companies with annual profit below 25 million. So if you have a limited liability company in Nigeria, a public company in Nigeria that is registered with CAC, and at the end of the year, alright, your annual returns, everything you sold that year, every revenue you generated that year is not up to 25 million, you will be given tax concession. That means you will be paying zero on tax. I have actually done a video in the past, I link it up somewhere here, in the past, where I explained I did a partial consideration between a business and a limited liability company, and in favor of a limited liability company, right? So I did a video that I said why you should choose a business like a limited liability company over a business name. So you can watch that video, and there I explained with illustrations how this works. So when you're registering a limited liability company, because it's a separate entity, it's also liable to pay tax. So it pays what is called company income tax, CIT, right? Now, aside from paying company income tax, you, the business owner who has earned money from that company, if the company has paid you money, you also pay in personal income tax from the money the company has paid you. But what we are saying, according to the finance bill of 2020, is that if the total revenue generated by your company in a calendar year, is less than 25 million, you'll be given what is called a tax concession. That means you pay nothing on tax for that year, right? So that's awesome, right? Maybe you can only pay your personal income tax if you did earn money from the company, right? So I hope these points will help you in deciding on the appropriate structure for your business idea. So do not make the mistake of opting for the cheaper one. Like I already said, you need to know exactly what is required, regulations, and based on all of these considerations that I have mentioned above for your business, right? So to register a private or limited liability company, so this is also another consideration. When you want to register a limited liability company, you also have to decide whether you register a public limited liability company or a private company. So in the case you have a number of people, you can a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 50 can register a private limited liability company. If the owners of the business have exceeded 50, you have to register a public company to now become a public company. And let me also say that the cost for registering a public company is also a little bit higher than that for registering a private limited liability company. So if you choose to register a company, you also have to decide whether to register a public or a private company. The difference being that the private company is privately, the shares are owned privately, but the public company, the shares are owned publicly and can be sold on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, right? You can sell shares of your company in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. You can list your shares there for sale. So for a public company, so that's it. So in terms of nomenclature, you'll see that a private limited liability company ends with LTD or limited, whereas a public company ends with PLC, which is public limited company, right? So that is the major difference. So that is it about the considerations for before you register a business with Nigerian's Corporate Affairs Commission. So if you would like to register your company today, I want you to take advantage of our ongoing promo. To get the details, you either call or WhatsApp this number that is here displayed. This will also be on the descriptions with the details of the ongoing promo. You want to go there and check, right? So I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share this video with anybody you feel that will need it, and also like this video so that more people, more entrepreneurs like you who need this information will see. Thank you for watching this video. Have a wonderful day. And